Hello, I'm Camille Kirksey, the founder of World Homeschoolers Day, the only holiday that celebrates homeschoolers worldwide. This year, the holiday offers free events and giveaways brought to you by our generous sponsors, one of whom you're going to meet right now. I'd like to welcome Tony and Jimmie from TruSpark, and they are going to share with us all about their company today. Hi, Jimmie. Hi, Tony. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, hello.
Thank you, Camille.
So, can you each just introduce yourself pretty briefly and say what you do over at TruSpark?
Yeah. Well, my name is Tony Kroening. Glad to be here and meet you. I am the founder of TruSpark, which is always one of those, what does that mean? Is that good or bad? But it really means is my brother had the idea, I put the team together, and including Jimmie. I'm married. My wife is a teacher, special ed. I got my master's in teaching early, and I care a lot about people and their work and careers and education. So glad to be here.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
And I'm Jimmie. I'm a homeschool mom, a veteran homeschool mom. I'm finished now. My daughter is on her own. She's grown and flown. And I do marketing for TruSpark.
Awesome. Very nice for both of you to be here. So, in a nutshell, tell us about your company and what the products and services are that you offer.
Well, TruSpark is really unique. There is nothing else out there like it. It is at its core an assessment, but we have associated with it a curriculum. So the way it works is kids around grades 7, 8, and 9, that's who it's designed for. They start with the curriculum, they learn a little bit about what's going to happen, they take an assessment, they get a report, and then they go back to the curriculum, which guides them through using their report for more personal insights. So the reason it's so unique is that this assessment isn't like most multiple choice questions tests. This is based on a student's own stories. They actually compose a story about a time in their life when they felt a sense of accomplishment, when they were proud of themselves, when they felt at their best. They write 2 of these stories. And when I say story, I don't mean a full-length essay, but just a paragraph or so. They write the story and they use the story in the assessment. So every student who takes the assessment has a different experience because it's based on their personal story. And their report then will identify for them 3 core motivations. These are our inner drives that give us zest in life, that get us up in the morning, the things that give us joy, the things that when we do them, we feel a sense of flow and fulfillment and purpose in our lives. And yes, middle school kids, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, they already have these defined core motivations within them. And so we use the stories with the assessment to help them identify what their top 3 core motivations are. And then we walk through with the curriculum different activities to help them gain insights about them. And one of the coolest things is it has career exploration integrated into it. So we say, oh, you are an influencer or you are a fixer. Here are careers that might mesh well with your motivations, and we lead them to research that.
That's amazing because, so many of us growing up, we may say, oh, we want to do this or this sounds great, but we really have no clue our skill set, our personality, if it matches. So to know that in the middle school or as early as possible is great. That's wonderful. What's one of your favorite things about TruSpark and what it offers?
Well, I think Jimmie touched a little bit about it, but I'll go a little bit deeper. The uniqueness of people. And because we start with story, and everyone's got a unique story, right? And who doesn't like telling their story? We don't have to learn to tell our story. It's inherently in us. And so today, more than anything, we live in a culture where people want to tell their story, celebrate their story, and TruSpark is a way for them to talk about positive stories and stories that are deeply meaningful. And the fun part is in telling those stories, it tells us something about them, and that is how they're made, how they're motivated, and then how useful that motivation is as they think about career and jobs and meaningful work. and maybe even what their parents do during the day. So.
And
Yeah.
some parents watching this may be thinking, well, I'd like to know what my own core motivations are. And they can certainly take TruSpark, but we actually have another product under our company umbrella that's called Motivation Code. And you can find that at motivationcode.com. And that actually is designed for adults.
Yeah.
It's the same basic idea as TruSpark. TruSpark's made for middle schoolers, and motivationcode.com is for adults. And so we encourage parents to check that out and see what you can learn about yourself as an adult.
Yeah, I was going to say, those things that you were mentioning, Tony, for the kids, absolutely anybody could use at any time in their life. It's not limited to a certain age. So that's amazing. I didn't even know you offered that for adults. Awesome. What's something that you really love about serving the homeschooling community?
So definitely Tony and I are in full agreement on this. We were going over these questions and we both had the exact same answer on this. And it was just helping kids, really people, reach their full potential.
Mm.
It's so exciting when you see that happen. And we know, Camille, that's one of the biggest perks of homeschooling is that kids aren't locked into that box and that routine and that, cookie cutter structure. You're able to tailor everything about your child's education, from the time of day to the curriculum, to the methods, to the subjects, everything, the pace. And TruSpark feeds into that because you're giving kids a new way to understand themselves. And then you can apply what you've learned. Kids learn how to advocate for themselves because they're able to say, that's why I don't like doing that task. That's why I always procrastinate that task, because I'm not that kind of person. I'm motivated by this core motivation. And then they can even say, hey, Mom, could I switch this activity around so it more matches my core motivations? Could I do it this way? And of course, any homeschool mom is going to say, absolutely, let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, we want our kids to reach their full potential, and TruSpark is a key along that path because it gives parents and teens keys about who they truly are deep down.
That's amazing. And the sooner you know that, the better. And like you said, you can advocate yourself. And as parents, you can give them more autonomy because they're beginning to know who they are and their voice matters and they know that. And that's so empowering as a child. Yeah, that's awesome. What advice would you give homeschoolers whose teens need direction for their future?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to tell a little story, and then two things will come out of this. So my wife was very athletic, and her family were big athletes. And so, of course, her children had to love athletics and be good at them and kind of measure up to her own thoughts for them and their future. So she used to buy this athletic stuff, bats and pitching machines. And of course, my oldest son, Karsten, would, do that for about an hour. Then he'd take it all apart and put it back together and repurpose it for something else. It was so frustrating. And I said, Karna, watch and listen and learn. He's telling you something. And what he loved to do was to take things apart and put them back together for some other purpose or make them simpler or better. But what he's not interested in is hitting a ball 50 times every 45 minutes or whatever it might be. So watch, listen, learn, and don't try to shape your children in your own image. They're unique as well. Yes, they get some DNA. Yes, you have impact and influence on them, but be prepared for them to be uniquely different and to follow the flow of their own motivation and pattern in life.
Absolutely. And Jimmie, you know this, I'm all about empowering children to be who they are. They are not our mini-me's and they have their own path. And that's wonderful to recognize that and let them know that you see that in them. That's very empowering to have that as a child. And it builds trust. Like, oh, you see me. You see who I am, not who you want me to be. That's excellent. Let me start over. What are the top 3 ways your company helps homeschoolers?
Well, one of the main benefits we feel TruSpark can bring a family is deepening the parent-child bond.
Yeah.
But what you exactly said, I'm just echoing that. It's understanding your child. The child feels understood. The child actually is understood. And the parent is able to give a child what actually truly motivates them. You know, we've mentioned a couple times about core motivations, and I want to encourage everyone to just go over to truspark.me. And in the main navigation, we have a link for motivations, and you'll see the 19 that we've broken out for middle schoolers there. And there's just a brief description of each one. And even just reading them, you might think, oh, that's my child. My child is an improver. My child is a learner. My child is an overcomer. My child is a standout. You're going to see some of that when you look at the website. Of course, taking the assessment, you get a much better idea. So I think the parent-child bond is key. And then I think another thing is just appreciating your child, knowing what makes them tick, and just to understand some of those conflicts that arise anytime in a family where you think, why does my child always do that? And a lot of times the assessment, the report will give you keys to realize that's why, just like the story that Tony told, you finally get it. The light bulb comes on. That's why my child actually doesn't like this. My child isn't designed that way. My child wasn't created that way. My child is bent in a different direction, and I need to go with that instead of against it. And then another huge benefit is with TruSpark, you kind of are getting a homeschool guidance counselor. You know, let's be honest, as homeschoolers, we do have a few disadvantages. And one of them is we don't get a guidance counselor. Yeah. But TruSpark can be your homeschool guidance counselor, your at-home counselor who's directing kids through that career exploration process. So we not only tell them, hey, these jobs would be good for you potentially, but we say, go over here to this website and this website. We have some official government sponsored, data like ONET, Occupation Net, where kids can walk through and use a worksheet that we have for them and take notes and do research. We've gotten great feedback from families who've done this where parents say, my kid spent 3 hours on ONET just searching and looking, and now they have a path. They realize, oh, I need college for this, or, oh, I need a technical school. And you know what? I need to improve my math because I need to do advanced math courses. So again, empowering kids to see how their today choices in 8th grade and 9th grade actually affect what they do long term. Now, it's not all future. A lot of this can be applied right now today, but it includes both. TruSpark will include both. And we do have also, when you purchase the curriculum and assessment, there's a special guide just for parents that helps parents understand how to apply those core motivations that their children were, shown to have in the report, how to apply those in the homeschool home environment, family environment. Yeah. So I think parents will get a lot of insights when they read that. The wheels will start moving and they'll realize, that's why my child is this way and how I can help my child, go with the stream of their natural inclinations instead of fighting against something that doesn't fit them.
That's so important because, like you said, it is a bit of a disadvantage when you don't have that partner. But what you're saying is that not only is it a partnership that TruSpark kind of brings, but it also gives you the tools to apply what they learn and what you learn about them. And I think that is very different than a lot. I definitely haven't found anything in my 10 years like that. And Jimmie, being a veteran, that it's like a lot of information you can receive, but you don't necessarily know how to apply it. So that guide is super key. That's amazing. Awesome. Share something about your company that you think most homeschoolers don't know.
Well, Jimmie already alluded to it, but we have a number of assessments, just not TruSpark. So we have a family of them. And really, over 60 years, our organization has been serving people in the quest for meaningful work, if you will. And the most of the work that we have done is with executives, NASA, Merck, Disney, whether it's selection, search, or the next job for them within an organization. But this science that we've been using has been used in all of our assessments and has been refined over that 60 years. We have analyzed and looked at and lovingly read over 1 million stories that people have about the best things they've ever done in their life. And so that's wonderful. It's an honor. And in some ways, it's very special and intimate when you get to that place with people. We have been able to help leaders, 250,000 leaders, find meaningful work and the next step in their life. So the honor is, if you will, to go earlier in life with people and say, you know what, that's really awesome, but let's get it out of the executive room or level, and let's take some of those insights to help people think about their own motivations, their own story, and how those inform them about what they would love to do for 8-10 hours a day for a long, big period in their life. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I'm a big proponent of in homeschooling, or just period, is it doesn't have to be the sooner the better. I'm normally the later the better, meet the kids. But in this instance, I think the sooner the better makes more sense, because it's personalized to them. It's not general, oh, because you're 7, it's because you're you, and you can take that and move it forward. That's wonderful.
Cool.
Why does having diverse and inclusive products and services matter to TruSpark?
Oh my goodness. It's the core of what we are, because TruSpark and this whole science that it's based on, it celebrates individuality. We're all part of different groups, different identities, but at our core, every single one of us is a totally unique individual. And TruSpark, gets to that core with this assessment. Obviously, there's only 19 different motivations. There's only so many ways they can be put together. But this is, as Tony was saying, it's just an introduction at an age appropriate level for a middle schooler to start thinking about, why am I the way I am? And there's no negative inside TruSpark. It's all positive. Like, this is your superpower. We don't tell the kids, this is what's wrong with you. You have this core motivation and it makes you bad. No, it's all positive. It's reach your potential, and this is what you're good at. And so it's very focused on what they excel at and not anything that's deficient in them by any means. So another thing is, again, to repeat, TruSpark is based on a student's own stories. So as Tony used the word intimate, it is intimate, right? You're sharing a time where you felt at your best. You felt proud of yourself. And that introspection is so important for middle schoolers as they're struggling with their identity. And we want them to know, you may be wired differently from everyone in your family and everyone in your homeschool co-op and all your friends, but you are special and unique, and you have these amazing gifts that when you leverage them, when you walk in them, not only do you feel great and fulfilled, but you're making the world a better place because you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Chill bumps. It's just amazing. That's how it should be. I feel like everyone should feel like that, especially kids. Yes. So what inspires you to do what you do?
Well, I just want to shout out here to Jimmie. She's more than a marketing person. She's a messenger. I love hearing it. So that's really cool. She's in the journey of the time we've known, she's just become such an advocate and for what we do, and for students and parents, obviously.
I'm a believer.
Yeah. So I think on my career page, don't go there, at LinkedIn, I really have this little byline that is helping people find and explore meaningful work, and finding the success and joy in their life, that comes through work. And work comes in so many different forms and functions. And I want to celebrate all work. All work, contributes deeply to all of our lives, whether you're an astronaut or a carpenter. And so letting people live into the thing they love to do and discover that and find meaning and joy in that, it's really awesome. It's really a privilege.
I love that. I want to ask kids, what kind of meaningful work do you want to do? Not just what you want to do when you grow up. What meaningful work? That's such a better question going forward. Thanks for that. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So what can people expect from TruSpark next?
Well, definitely keep an eye over at motivationcode.com. We are applying this technology, this science to new products. I don't know that we're at liberty to, express what those are, but if we do, Tony, you can share. But we are going to be applying this technology, this science, I should say, to other areas of life so that it can enrich people in different facets.
Ooh,
Yeah, our
super.
stories are more than just our work, right? It's the volunteer stuff we do, the things, the hobbies we have. And I'll give a little hint. It's about the relationships that we develop. And so we're building a relationship app.
Ooh, nice. I can't
Yeah.
wait to learn more about
Yeah.
that. That's so
Yeah.
needed.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
We just appreciate anyone visiting TruSpark.me. Check it out. We have some video testimonials from homeschool moms who've used it. There's a preview of what the curriculum looks like. There's an FAQ. Check it out. We also have discounted rates so if you guys have more than one child and you want to use TruSpark, you really only need to buy the curriculum once. It's a
Yeah.
digital product. It's not consumable. Anything that's consumable, you print out. So you just need to buy the curriculum once, and then you can add on assessments. So it'll make it more affordable if you have more than one child in this age range. And just also to say, even though it's designed for 8th through 9th graders, people have successfully used it with kids a little bit younger, if they're more on the mature side, and a little bit older as well. So it's, we all know as homeschoolers, things are flexible. It was designed with 7th, 8th, and 9th grade in mind, but that's not a strict, rule. You can fudge a little on either side of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, and tell the audience one more time where they can find you online.
Go to TruSpark.me, TruSpark.me. It's not .com, but .me. It's all about me and my stories and my motivations, yours, TruSpark.me. And then also for the adult version, check out motivationcode.com.
Wonderful. Thanks for both of you joining us today and for being a 2023 World Homeschoolers Day sponsor.
Glad to be here.